Ladies, everyone says forgive and forget. That walking away makes you cold, bitter. But here's the truth they're afraid to tell you. I've helped 50 women leave toxic relationships. They all ignored the same 8 signs before they finally walked away. Once you see them, you'll finally reveal why your peace matters more than their apologies. Look, I'm not here to make you heartless, but there's a difference. Healthy forgiveness versus allowing repeated disrespect. The women who understand this, they find genuine love. They keep their peace intact. Today, I'm walking you through the exact 8 signs smart women wish they'd recognised sooner. These aren't obvious red flags. These are subtle patterns that slowly erode your self-worth until you don't recognise yourself anymore. By the end, you'll have a clear roadmap for protecting your emotional well-being. Let's dive in. The first sign my clients all ignored: infidelity, sexual or emotional. This isn't just physical betrayal, it's the complete breakdown of trust that comes with choosing someone else over your relationship. Here's what most women are afraid to tell you. Infidelity creates trauma. It attacks your reality, your self-worth. The person supposed to protect your heart becomes the one who shatters it. Smart women understand infidelity isn't a mistake, it's conscious choices. Every text, every meeting, every lie to cover it up. This is one of the clearest signs he's lying to you. Stories don't add up. Behaviour suddenly changes. The women who refuse to forgive infidelity aren't being unforgiving. They're being realistic. Someone who can betray you once has shown you who they are when their strong feelings conflict with your well-being. This makes building trust in relationships impossible because trust requires truth, not betrayal. But infidelity isn't the only sign that destroys relationships. There's another pattern that happens when you're most vulnerable. Second sign: abandonment during your hardest moments. Family crisis, health issues, career setback. Instead of showing up, they become distant, unavailable, or make your struggles about them. Smart women learned this about relationships. Anyone can be there for good times. Your worst times reveal who people really are. The person who can't handle your struggles doesn't deserve access to your success. Here's one of the most important questions to ask your boyfriend. Will you be there when things get difficult? But more importantly, watch their actions when life gets hard. The people worth keeping show up, especially when it's hard. This is what real love looks like in relationships. Speaking of people who disappear, there's another sign that's just as damaging, but happens every single day. Sign number 3, making you responsible for managing their emotions. You'll hear, "Look what you made me do," or "You know how I get when you say things like that." They position their emotional reactions as your responsibility to prevent. This is classic narcissism, making you responsible for their internal world while taking no accountability. Smart women recognise this as emotional hostage taking. They're scared of rejection, so they control you instead of dealing with their own insecurities. But here's what's really happening. They avoid emotional self-regulation by making it your job. This destroys personal growth for both people involved. The breakthrough? You are not responsible for other people's emotional reactions to your reasonable behaviour. But emotional manipulation gets even more insidious when they use your compassion against you. Fourth sign: emotional manipulation through guilt. They hurt you. You express how you feel. Suddenly you're apologising. They flip the script, so you end up comforting them for the pain they caused you. Smart women recognise phrases like, "I guess I'm just a terrible person." These aren't genuine apologies. They're manipulation tactics designed to make you feel guilty for having boundaries. They're afraid to tell you the truth about their intentions. Here's what they don't want you to know. Genuine remorse focuses on your pain, not their guilt. When someone is truly sorry, they take action to change, not just words to manipulate. This blocks personal growth in relationships because it prevents honest communication. And if guilt doesn't work, they'll try something even more damaging. Sign number 5, using silence as a weapon. This isn't needing space to process. This is deliberately withholding communication to punish you for having boundaries. You bring up a concern. They shut down completely. Days pass. You're analysing every word, eventually apologising for things that weren't your fault. This is one of the clearest signs he's lying to you about his intentions. Someone who cares about building trust in relationships communicates through conflict. They don't weaponize silence. When you stop chasing someone giving you the silent treatment, something powerful happens. You realise how peaceful it is when toxic people remove themselves. But even worse than silence is when they refuse to acknowledge reality. 6th sign, complete refusal to take accountability. They'll blame circumstances, blame you, blame anyone except themselves. When confronted with their actions, they focus on intentions instead of your experience. You'll hear, "That's not what I meant," or "You're being too sensitive." They deflect rather than saying, "I was wrong." They're afraid to tell you the truth because it requires facing their flaws. This is classic narcissism. Someone who can't take accountability will never change. This makes building trust in relationships impossible because trust requires honesty about mistakes. And when they can't take accountability, they'll cross the one boundary that should be sacred. 7th sign, boundary violation. After clear communication, you've said you don't want them showing up unannounced. They keep doing it. You've asked them not to bring up certain topics. They keep pushing. These are signs he's lying to you about respecting your autonomy. Smart women understand boundaries aren't suggestions. They're requirements for healthy relationships. When someone crosses boundaries you've communicated, they're saying their wants matter more than your comfort. Here's the pattern. They'll test small boundaries first. If you don't enforce those, they'll push bigger ones. They're scared of rejection, so they push until you reject them. One important question to ask your boyfriend: do you respect my boundaries when they're inconvenient? Watch how they respond when you set boundaries. But there's one final sign that makes all others possible. Sign 8. Repeated lying. Everyone makes mistakes, but there's a difference between a slip and a pattern of deception. When someone lies repeatedly, they're stealing your ability to make informed decisions. They're saying, "I don't trust you with reality." This is how to detect lies in dating. Stories change. Details don't match. Your gut screams something's off. Smart women trust their intuition and pay attention to inconsistencies. People don't lie to protect you. They lie to protect themselves. Once you accept repeated lies, you're teaching them your peace is negotiable. This might seem less dramatic than infidelity, but it's the foundation that makes all toxic behaviours possible. When someone can lie repeatedly without consequences, they learn. Your reality is something they can manipulate. Here are questions to ask your boyfriend to test honesty. Tell me about your day in detail. Who are you texting? Watch for hesitation. Your strong feelings about their answers are usually right. Here's what happens when you stop ignoring these 8 signs. You stop attracting people who exhibit them. You develop radar for emotional maturity. You recognise green flags as clearly as you once ignored red flags. Your relationships become easier. Not because you found perfect people, but because you found people who do the basic work of being decent humans. The most beautiful part. You stop questioning your reality. When you're not making excuses for toxic behaviour, your intuition gets stronger. This is real personal growth. Learning to value yourself enough to demand better. Building trust in relationships becomes natural when you're with someone who doesn't exhibit these patterns. You finally reveal what healthy love feels like. Look, forgiveness has its place in healthy relationships, but forgiveness without boundaries is enabling. The most loving thing you can do? Stop accepting behaviour that damages relationships. Smart women understand walking away isn't giving up on love. It's making space for real love. They're no longer scared of rejection, because rejecting toxic behaviour is self-love. Your self-worth isn't determined by how much you tolerate. It's determined by how well you protect what matters. Your right to be treated with respect and honesty in all your relationships. The next time someone exhibits these 8 signs, remember, you're not responsible for fixing them. You're responsible for protecting your well-being and continuing your personal growth journey. The people who truly love you won't exhibit narcissism. They won't be afraid to tell you the truth. They'll help you build trust in relationships rather than destroy it. If this resonated, let me know in the comments which signs you've experienced. Your strong feelings about these patterns might help another woman recognise them. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Your future self will thank you for the boundaries you set today. You finally reveal your true worth when you stop accepting anything less than genuine love and respect.